Good afternoon, everybody. First off, thank you for Janice and the rest of you for inviting us council people that want to, so-called want to have this job. A quick biography. I was born and raised in Vermont, probably about as far away from here as you can get. I joined the service in 1976, Air Force, discharged in November of 1980. My wife and I went back to Vermont and ran the family business for 13 years. I sold my share to my brother and my dad, and we moved out here. And we started Mesquite Tile and Flooring on September 15th, 1992. And we ran it for almost 30 years. My daughter and son-in-law have taken it over, and now I'm fully retired. So that's a brief thumbnail sketch of what I've done. I am an entrepreneur, I'm a businessman, I'm not a politician. The reason I'm doing this is that this city has been great to me. I can't say enough about this city. I was here almost from its inception. It was incepted in the 1980s, and I was here in the early 1990s. But anyway, the reason I'm running is I'd like to see this city continue to grow, but we need to have some sustainable growth. As you all know, the biggest industry here in Mesquite is the housing market. We build houses like nobody's business. Well, that's not going to continue. We need to work on getting some other businesses, sustainable growth. The can factory is a perfect example out here. What a beautiful setup that is out there. Bark Canine Club just built a building out there. Do It Best has got a distribution center there. We're right on I-15. Why can't we have some more of that stuff going on to create jobs for all our young people and to continue on? Of course, the other thing I'm going to be putting my thumb on is being fiscally responsible. We have some areas where we need to improve. The city's done a pretty marvelous job the last 10 or 12 years, in my opinion, but there's some areas that we need to improve on. One of my pet peeves is the parks, the city parks. Some of them are becoming in disarray. I'm going to be polite. You go by some of the ball fields. I don't know if some of you guys play in the senior games, softball games, but the ball fields are absolutely gorgeous. But some of the city parks don't look anywhere near like that. So I'd like to bring those up to speed. I'm a dog owner. I go to the dog park over here on First South, and it's atrocious, to be perfectly honest. Yeah. So I'd like to see that taken care of. That's really basically my story and my issues. Throw some questions at me if you so desire. I'll try not to stumble too bad and answer them for you. It's amazing, I know a lot of people in this town, but I only recognize one person here. So I'm so sorry that I don't know more of you, but anyway, my name is Kevin Parrish, and I think I'll do a great job for you. Sir, go ahead.
You mentioned about economic growth. Did you have a plan in mind?
Well, you know, economic growth is great, but we got to get the businesses here. I know we've tried in the past. We lost, I don't know if anybody knows this or not, but we lost the Walmart distribution center that's now up in Hurricane. We almost had that at one time. We need to get things like that.
Why did we lose it?
Because they made a better offer. Hurricane made a better offer than the city of Mesquite. It's the same with I don't know if any of you guys were around during when we were trying to get a bigger airport. We were trying to get a bigger airport so that we could get a UPS distribution center. The FAA didn't come through on that. So, but our hands are kind of tied to some of these businesses, but I want to promote, I'm not going to say tax advantages, but you know, there's things the city can do to entice people to come.
Incentives, yeah.
And we don't need to give them 5 or 10 or 20-year tax breaks, but we can entice them to get here.
Do you have any issues with the chief of police or the police department?
I do. The one thing I'm concerned about with that is not so much the pay. I know they make a bunch of money, but I'm concerned about the residency requirements. I don't know if you know it or not, but we require all our city employees, or a lot of our city employees, to be residents of Mesquite. And I think these two individuals are abusing that privilege.
Well, there's more to the story.
Yeah, I'm sure there is, and I don't know it all, and
Okay.
that's why I can't comment anymore.
Oh, okay.
But I do know that there's some issues with both of them.
Okay.
Okay? Yes, ma'am.
And I think we need to have more strict rules for construction of new homes. I mean, our city council now just rubber stamps everything.
That is correct.
They've gone from single-family dwellings on the corner by me on Palmer Lane to multiple family too. And I said, you're gonna put, 120 units, 240 people on that small corner right at Palmer and.
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
And they stamped it anyway, they didn't care.
I don't know how many folks are up in Sun City. I know. Wow. So I don't know. Did anybody see the original map of Sun City?
Not the original one, no.
The original, way back when that was approved. It is nothing like what's going on up there right now. And that should never happen. We were supposed to have a second golf course. We were supposed to have church lots, retail spaces, and all that stuff, and it doesn't happen. We need to stop that. When they give us an original proposal, we need to make sure that we put their nose to the grindstone and make sure that's what we get.
Yeah, we don't need more homes without more infrastructure.
That is absolutely correct. I mean, I don't know about you, but every time my wife goes to the grocery store, she's overwhelmed with the people that are there. I mean, we might need another grocery store for heaven's sake. So, I mean, yes.
Well, we need more people that can work in the businesses that we want to entice to come here.
Well,
How do we build places to, or how do we get working single folks and
Well-
working families to come here?
well, I don't know why we're building apartments in the middle of residential areas, number one. I don't get that. Why would we not build these? We got plenty of space out. I don't know the street, I'm sorry. It goes out by Do It Best. Pioneer?
Pioneer.
Yeah, we got plenty of space out in there. So, but the work issue is not a Mesquite issue.
No.
It's countrywide.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
You know, so maybe we all might need to go out and get part-time jobs and that would take care of it. No, I'm just joking. Just joking. Yes, ma'am.
What about more computer classes over at CSN? I went there yesterday and they're always having phlebotomy classes or nursing classes. I took it years ago and I took so many computer classes. Like years ago when I took classes over at Las Vegas at CSN and over at UNLV, I took so many classes there and I wanted to take another class. And the lady over there behind the desk, she said to me, we don't have any here, we'll never have any. The best thing you can do is go to the Learning Center over at the library and go take a few classes there for free. And I said, okay, I understand that, I get where you're at. So I was just wondering about that, if there'll be any.
Well,
Isn't that controlled by Clark County or not?
it is, and I don't mean to, but I think what's happened to the country now is everybody assumes that we're all computer literate.
Yeah.
Well, I'm surely not myself. I promise you that right now. I can kick by an iPad and my laptop, I can type up a few things, but as far as a computer class, I don't know if that's a possibility, but that's something I would look into for you.
Okay.
I will do that.
Oh, I have another question, sir.
Okay.
One more question. Will there ever be any more, I know it's not a big deal around here, but will there be at least one clothing store around here? I mean,
In your
Well, okay, so,
Like, I know that the
Okay.
Fields went out of business a long
Right.
time ago, but.
Okay, so
is it
that-
Ross or TJ Maxx or something?
that's something that we as a community need to work on a little bit.
Yeah.
I know it's real easy to sit at your desk and order clothes from Amazon or where, I mean,
I don't have a computer, I don't have
but,
online.
but anyway, what I'm trying to say is that we need to support the businesses that are here.
They don't have any clothes.
I understand, but we had a beautiful clothing store.
Yes, we
And
do.
it never got supported enough. And I apologize, you know, it's nobody's fault, but it just happens. But I think the town is getting better at supporting the local businesses. I'm on Nextdoor, which I'm sure most of you guys are on, and I see probably 90 to 95% of the comments are positive about the business community here in town. So I think the climate is there, we just gotta get the businesses in, and that leads me back to something that needs to be brought in along with industry. We need to bring, we've got acres and acres of open land along Mesquite Boulevard that would support retail. You know, I built my building there back in 2006, and it was the best thing I ever did. And I mean, it's right on the boulevard, and you know, people can find it. It's right across from the post office. We need other buildings on Mesquite Boulevard to fill out. I mean, so it looks a little bit more like a real city.
We had a bunch, but when they widened, put in that island, they drove a lot of businesses under.
Yeah.
They were really good because of access, because of the island.
We also have a lot of empty buildings there that could be rented, but they want too much money to rent a place to open.
Well, you know, I don't know what other owners are renting spaces for, but if you go into business, you gotta assume that that's part of your overhead, and you have to, you know, you gotta pencil it all out and make sure that you're gonna make ends meet with what you have to pay for rent. Yes, sir.
So speaking of business and business health, if these jackwagons try to pull another pandemic on us, you're gonna have the spine to tell them we ain't shutting nothing down and businesses are gonna stay open.
Absolutely. I never shut down a minute when COVID hit.
Good.
To be honest with you, I'm not trying to brag or anything, but it's probably one of the better 2 or 3 years that I ever had in business. People were home, they found things that wanted to get done. I was able to go in and do those things, and so I agree with you wholeheartedly. I will be one to vote for not shutting this town down, ever, ever, ever.
What about mandates for masks and lockdowns and vaccines?
Well,
Vaccines.
that's way above my pay grade.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
All right.
You go one
One
she
more
wants to
question.
kick me out, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to ask about emergency preparedness with all of these people coming across the border in hordes, and they're taking over our universities, and nobody's ever told us what happened, what are we supposed to do if there is a nuclear attack? What are we supposed to do if we do get attacked right in our own town or cities?
Well, that's something
About
that,
emergency preparedness.
that's something you should be, I don't know about everybody else, but we have food storage. I don't know if everybody really thinks about this, but we're so darn close to Nellis, we gotta be prepared, you know? We have to be. I grew up, I don't know if anybody else did, but during the Cuban Missile Crisis, I saw some bomb shelters built in basements. I mean, most everybody's the same age I am, so you probably went through that. I don't think we need to go to that extreme, but we need to be prepared,
Right.
correct?
Yeah.
I
Okay.
would just like to add that CERT does come around to any group who would like to have them and give talks on emergency preparedness and what you do in the street, and they have a plan.
That would be great.
So we'll have to see about having you come and speak at our group.
That
Well,
would be
thank you,
great.
Kevin.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. So we'll have Steve Clutterham come up, and we had one other person, Ron Shackelford, who, I don't know, maybe got mixed up on or forgot, or maybe got busy, so we won't hold it against him, right? But anyway, we'll have Steve speak for a few minutes, and then we'll start our meeting.
Thank you.
You don't need any more Janice.
Hello, everyone. I am Steve Clutterham, as she said. I'd like to thank Janice and the Mesquite Patriots for holding this event. Very happy to be here. For those of you that don't know me, you may have known my wife, my late wife passed away last September, Tracy Beck, that was the city clerk here for 10 years. I was at nearly every city council meeting during that 10 years. I'd have to say a minimum of 95%. Give me kind of a unique view of what happens on this side of the dais and what happens on that side of the dais. There's a whole lot of times that a whole lot of homeowners, just like you, went there to complain about new construction near their homes, what's going on in their neighborhood that they're not happy with, and what have you. And I felt like they left without ever being heard. They went up there, they spent their 3 minutes, maybe 20, 30 families behind them did the same thing. Nobody ever heard anything they said. They voted the way they were going to before you got there anyway. You wasted your time, basically. And I watched that for 10 years. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. I don't care if you moved here yesterday and you rent an apartment, or you lived here for 20 years and you own a home. If you have a problem in this city, those 5 people should be listening to you. They decide basically every dime that's spent in this city. So if there's new construction going up in your neighborhood that you're not happy with, they're the ones that voted on it. They should listen to you. The only thing is, you should make sure and listen, get there and make them listen to you before they vote on it. Because unvoting something is nearly impossible, unfortunately. One of the things I heard earlier, somebody asked about the property at Oasis and Palmer. That property was sold to that company. It took 3 or 4 meetings to make it happen. It was changed several times. And I can't say for sure, but I have not heard a word from them since they got the grant, since they got the approval. I believe they're another contractor that has come to town with a build program to secure the property and never build on it.
And why does the city council not put in specific wording that that's not
Exactly, that's exactly what they should be doing.
Yeah.
They should be, and they have done that on a few parcels, but I don't believe there's any on that. There should be a stipulation as to when they have to start construction or when they have to sell it back to the city for what they bought it for. That's my opinion. But I'm just telling you that these guys were very, very active at the time, 3 or 4 meetings, and I have not heard one word from any of them since then. But I'm not on the city council, so I can't tell you that they haven't, but nothing's come to council is all I can tell you. And I live in a neighborhood. I live in Canyon Crest. I know of the traffic it's going to create. I know of the joyful golfers that are going to have to cross that street, and it's going to be much more dangerous. But I really don't think it's going to come to fruition anytime soon. Okay, I need to drop one more name. My campaign manager is Cindy Delaney. Many of you may remember she was on council for 3 years, and she sat right next to my wife, who was the city clerk. They were close friends, as we were with them, her and her husband. So I saw a lot of that through Cindy, also what was going on. Don't get me wrong, I liked 75% of everything I've seen in that 10 years. But there was a 20 or 25% that I didn't like. I didn't like the fact that people had already made up their mind before they got to the council to vote. There was a long time there that we had city council people that I felt they could have just canceled the meetings because they already knew how they're going to vote on everything anyway. There was no need for the meeting. They weren't listening to anybody or anything anybody had to say. I truly don't believe that there's been any kind of kickbacks or anything like that. I don't think anybody's ever done that. It's just a lot of people have their own agendas and they're going to get them done no matter what. I really not really strong feel that that's not right. My wife and I purchased our home here 15 years ago. Full-time residents, plan to live here forever. She's gone now, I will be here forever. I'm not going anywhere. We did move here from California, and we never looked back. Absolutely never looked back. I have no desire to Californiaize this city. A lot of people move here and they think, why don't we have this, why don't we have that, why don't we have this, because you moved to a small town. It's the bottom line. Every week I have somebody ask me, When are we gonna get a Trader Joe's? I tell them all the same exact answer. Well, that's St. George, when they get one, we'll have one in 20 or 30 years. It's just not gonna happen. You can want for something all you want, but we can't call Trader Joe's and tell them they have to open a store here. They're still an independently owned business that decides where they want to go, and they're not going to go to a town of 25,000. They just aren't. I don't know how many of you know that about a month ago the city had the 24-25 financial disclosure up that they had to vote on, and they were about to vote to approve it or not when I called to attention that they hadn't released the numbers to anybody in the city. Not one person here saw anything at all about how they're going to spend our money, but they were ready to vote on it. I stopped that. They had to delay it for 5 days, put it on the calendar again, put it on the city website, and put it in the newspaper. This is your money. It doesn't belong to anybody else. You hired, elected the 5 people sitting on that council. They owe it to you to make sure you know how they're spending your money. That's it, plain and simple. It doesn't matter what it's on. And not one person came back 5 days later to the renewed council meeting and complained about it. It doesn't matter if the numbers were right or wrong. The matter was you deserve to know. That's all there is to it. I don't care if nobody read it. It still needs to be printed. That's the law. And that's the reason they delayed it, because they knew they broke the law. Things I do in the community right now. I'm the treasurer of the Parade of Lights that's every Christmas. I don't know how many of you are familiar with that. Debbie Benham owns it, runs it, has for, I think, 13 years now. I'm the treasurer. I'm the one to make sure all the money comes in, gets spent. Every dime of it goes to the Salvation Army. Nothing different. Every penny that comes in, we don't even use any of the money for administration or anything else. I absorb that myself. I'm also the current representative from the city of Mesquite for the Silver Rider, which means I attend every one of their meetings, which are most of them are in Boulder City, 9,500 miles away, but I go. So I know what's going on here. That's why when we had the accident last month, I knew who it was. I know what happened. I was on top of it before they ever released anything of information to anybody. And if anybody has any questions about the Silver Rider or whatever, would be more than happy to have you ask me. I listened to hear your voice. Like I said, too many people that I saw weren't heard. They spent their time to go to city council like they're supposed to. They got their neighborhood together. They had a common argument, and they went to city and nobody listened to us. That's not right. And I'm not pointing out any one council member. It's better now than it used to be, I can tell you that. But it's still not as good as I would like to see it. Housing. I kind of disagree with Mr. Parrish a little bit. Yes, we need more corporations here to employ more people. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I should have shut this off. If we get more corporations here, like Crown, Cork, and Seal, they have to have employees. Right now, the only way to employ any new businesses is to take from ones that are existing, which is about what 75% of their employees did, was they took from existing businesses. We have to have young people here. Everyone I see here is probably retired or close to it. We love it here. We want to enjoy the city for a long, long time. But to do that, there has to be people to run the businesses. People have to service our meals. People have to run the hotels. People have to run all the little businesses. We're not doing that. Most of us are not doing that anymore. Tracy and myself own 2 small restaurants in town for a while. We're not doing that anymore. We need young people. Single-family homes aren't going to serve young people. They can't afford it. Even if you had them at $350,000 or $400,000, they can't afford it. So you have to have some condos and apartments. The big question becomes where to put them. Where's the correct place to put them? And I think in the past we've kind of done this, piecemealed it, without thinking about what happens when this puzzle all comes together, how it's really going to fit in, where businesses should be and where residences should be and where apartments should be. We kind of tried to spread them out a little bit and have you in many cases, we put them too close to existing homes, in my opinion. But we still have to have an overall view of how this city is going to come together as a puzzle. You can't have just, like putting a puzzle together, just popping pieces down anywhere. They have to fit together. They have to fit the growth of our city. We have to be able to control what happens here and not do it, just sell property to anybody that asks. Or in many cases, give property away or give it at a discounted price. We need to have more control over that. And I think I'll leave you with that and ask for questions.
To your right.
There's a question.
Oh, yes, yes.
Oh, I was gonna ask, what about mixed usage areas here, where you've got retail and housing and that kind of stuff I think would be appealing to younger families?
Right, I think it's good. You know, the Levitt Foundation has one going up across from City Hall.
Okay.
They are presenting next week a change to the original order. They were tried to present it last week and they decided they needed to change it more. So they pulled it off the calendar. It will be there next Tuesday. I'd like you all to go and hear what they have to say. But it is a mixed usage. The bottom floor is going to be all retail and the upper 2 floors are going to be apartments. I think they're all 1 and 2s. I don't think there's any 3s.
Do we have daycare centers here for?
We do have daycare
families
centers. Just last week, we approved another one, and I wish I could remember exactly where it is, but we do have one. We have a current one over by the junior high school, I believe it is, and we have another one that's opening very soon, in the next 6 to 8 weeks, I think. She's coming in fast. I expect her to be approved next week at City Council, and I think she's going to have 25 to 30 students. Still not a lot. We have to get more, obviously.
What would be the magic number now too, say for instance, so then we might have to have an additional elementary school, that
Right.
kind of stuff.
I don't know that number right now. I know from my opinion, on child care, we need to be able to cover, I would say, 250 to 300 kids per day. That's my ballpark guessing.
Okay.
When we were young, families stick together. They didn't move apart. So you usually had brothers, sisters, mothers, aunts, uncles could watch your kids when you worked. And you didn't pay them. And that made it so you could afford a house. That doesn't exist so much anymore. Families are spread all over. Too many families either don't have someone to do it or they don't trust anyone else with their kids. And I understand that.
There you go.
And we need to solve that problem. Okay? Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
We've been here 10 years, we've had the same mayor for those 10 years.
Yes, sir.
You've been a lot closer to observing him than we have. How would you differentiate your style or approach to the job compared to the existing one?
Well, I'll tell you that, understand, I'm running for city council, not mayor.
Not mayor.
Okay? The mayor almost never gets to vote on anything. The only time he does, if one person's missing and it's a tie, or if it's something that requires a super vote, which is usually an employee being released. I think Al's a very good mayor. He's been here 10 years, he knows things. Too many people think that the mayor has a magic wand. He doesn't. Of the 6 people sitting on that dais, he has the least amount of power. The 5 of us can make things happen. He can only make suggestions. If he doesn't get 3 of us to go along with him, his suggestions really don't mean anything. So I've heard a lot of people say, well, the mayor should do this, they should do this, they should get this business. You just can't. It's not the way it works. Yes, ma'am.
I have something to say about the mayor, though.
Okay.
I worked on a committee that was trying to stop the smoking in the casinos.
Yep.
We put a lot of time in it, and I realized there was some errors made by the higher-ups in that whole thing. But when Mayor Littman put that editorial in the paper and was so nasty about us doing this, because if we do this, you're going to have to turn the lights out on this town. Everybody's going to leave. Excuse me, that right there tells me this man had a lot of pull. And he also had the casinos in his pocket. So, and to write that, and we come from Colorado where they did stop the smoking in the casinos.
Right.
These people did not stop going, and nobody had to turn the lights out.
Well, let me tell you a little something on that. And I hope you don't argue with me. I'm very familiar with the situation.
Well, I am too.
I'm the person that was in North Hollywood and got approached by a poll taker to sign a bill in North Vegas. That was against the law. If I'd have been smart about it, I'd have videotaped it.
And I'm not even talking about that.
Okay,
I'm just talking about the article.
I don't know exactly the article. I'm just telling you that there were some bad things done trying to get that passed. And I'm all for it. I'm all for no smoking in the casinos. What I'm not all for is us being a guinea pig. And I think it may go on the ballot in Las Vegas this year.
Well, that'd be wonderful.
And if it does, and it passes, we will probably pass that without having to put it on the ballot.
Well, that would be wonderful.
That's the only objection I have. I'm a non-smoker. I've never smoked in my life. I don't like being in casinos next to smokers. But I don't want to be the guinea pig. I don't want it to cost us businesses because we did something nobody else would.
Well, like I said, he should not have written the article. Did anybody else see that article when it happened?
Yeah, we all saw it.
Well,
He's like anybody else, though. He is entitled to his opinion.
well, no, I know, but he's also in a position
Right, to influence
of
people.
swaying and saying.
Sure, of course.
But anyway, that was my thing on him, and he's been there too long.
All right, thank you. So,
All right.
Can I
She had a question.
Sure. Go ahead.
I love that you're more hands-on than many,
Right.
most. Is there a city, and we've been here 2 years. Is there a city planner or someone
Yes, there is.
that's helped with zoning with a master plan?
Yes.
And is what's happening with the piecemeal stuff,
It's just
is
not-
that within the plan? Or are we gonna get to a point where it's just a mishmash and it causes values to go down?
Travis, myself personally, I don't think anything's happened in this city to this day that causes house values to go down. I really don't. I own 2 homes here, 2 different areas. They keep going up. That doesn't mean it won't happen.
Right. If we
And yes,
don't-
there is Travis Anderson and Simon, he's new, I don't remember his last name, I'm sorry, that are in charge of all that. But right now, I think they're focusing so much on enlarging the city, especially enlarging businesses, that they don't take a good enough look at the overall plan. And I think, in my opinion, they give away or discount too much land.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of land left here to develop. Very soon, we're going to have to ask for more land from the federal government. I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to do that. But it's going to happen. But yes, right now, I don't think they're paying quite enough attention to how things fit together. And where putting this here affects what's already next door.
What kind of a say or pull do they have when it comes time to city council approving something? Or-
City council can approve or disapprove anything they put up. Right now, I don't want to be the one to say this, I don't like realtors being on the city council.
Amen.
I do not like it. I don't care who you, I'm not directed at anybody.
Conflict of interest.
Not directed at anybody's conflict of interest, in my opinion. And that's part of what happens, is realtors get on there, they bring in developers. And then the city says, okay, let's let them do this. I want to change that. I really want to change that. I don't want favoritism for anybody in this city. Okay?
thank you, Steve.
Thank you all.